Hello and welcome to All the Pies. My name's Cy, that is Kev, and this is the preview of a big crunch match this Sunday at home against Arsenal. Will Newcastle be 3 points closer to securing Champions League, or will Arsenal bottle it like they did last time they were at the mighty St James's? We'll find out, won't we?
God, he scored so many goals.
All right.
Feels like it's been a while, but it hasn't really, has it? We're having all of those games one after another for those couple of weeks. We're doing a lot of videos, so I'm excited to be back.
Aye, good. What you been doing? Anything fun?
Nah, I'm surviving by myself at the minute. My girlfriend's away on holiday to the US of A.
And my missus is going away tomorrow morning to Greece.
Greece Lightning. Yeah. So what we're going to do, how we're going to cope.
Fuck that. So house is just going to be ruined, full of takeaway boxes and fucking hookahs. But, we're going to crack straight on the day because we've got a guest. We've only gone and got a fucking Gooner to talk about Sunday's match. So, Kev, I'll ask you this. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm kind of ready.
Are you ready? Are you fucking ready?
Okay, let's go.
And we're joined by Dan. Hello, mate. You all right?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you very much. I feel very honoured and privileged to be on the show today.
No worries, mate. We're having a little bit audio feedback there. You might want to turn the volume down on your iPad and touch, or adjust your little knob on your headphones, mate.
I ain't got any. I've only got the one knob. It's not on my headphones.
Just adjust that knob. That'll be fine.
Is that all right?
Nah, it's worse.
It's worse.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Right, and welcome back to the stream, Dan. We had a few technical hiccups there to start with. It's just fucking typical Arsenal, isn't it? Just before stage time, and the fucking arse goes, and you have hiccups. How you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm very well. It's a privilege to be here and an honour. I've watched a couple, as much as I can bear, listening to you. I listened to a bit of the cup final one. Because I was very much naturally willing you on, because I wanted to fast forward to the '98 final, obviously.
And then I knew you would get that in somehow. I knew you'd get that in.
Didn't take long. And I, of course, listened to my cousin Mark over from Canada. That was good as well. I wanted to have a little argument with him over a couple of points there that I spoke to Kev about, but I'll carry on with that online. But thank you very much.
We'll have to get you back on for a family feud video then.
Yeah, well up for that.
Well, do you want to explain a little bit about yourself and how you are you a lifelong Gooner? What's the situation? How you linked to the Northeast? What's the crack?
Yeah. So, my background, my mum's a Geordie. She moved down to London when she was 17. Met my dad, who's lifelong Gooner. Born into it. Dad was season ticket holder for most of his life. Lucky enough to have gone since I was 6. Lived through some very good years, all through the Wenger years. And then been a season ticket holder since 2006, since we moved to, I don't like saying the word, but the Arsenal rather than the Emirates. Yeah. But naturally, given that my mum's Geordie, I've got a bit of a soft spot for the Toon Army. My dad was always, because we went up north all the time anyway, but my dad was always keen to kind of just, go to football matches if Arsenal were playing away up north. So me took Terry across to Sheffield United away. But I was also there at Eldon Square when you got promoted, seeing Kevin Keegan lifting the trophy on the open top parade. Remember seeing Barry Venison's hair from afar.
It was a beauty, wasn't it?
It really, I mean, as a team, you had a lot of good haircuts around that time. It was, yeah. Who
They were a well-groomed team. Ginola.
Yeah.
And actually, Ginola wasn't there then.
John Beresford was there at the time, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But Venison, just amazing.
Step up from the days of Killer Kill Klein, isn't it? He could have done with putting a brush through his, but Barry Venison and David Ginola, they were definitely
raised the standards.
They did, yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I've always had a soft spot for Toon Army, but yeah, obviously not when you're playing us.
Yeah. So obviously we must be of a similar age range. So you've got to live through and see all the ups and downs of the 90s and the noughties.
Yeah. So I'm same age as Kev.
Yeah.
Exactly the same age. So yeah, I started going 91-92 season. So season before the Premier League, the end of terraces. I tell you, because I've been, naturally, it's been a very good season for us. And when things are going well, as it is with you boys, you start to and also the challenge of turning 40. That's been a bit of a crisis. So I've started to watch on YouTube all the Arsenal season reviews from when I started going.
Yeah.
And one, it makes me feel really old. Realize how different football was back in the day and all that. I can't remember my point about it, but yeah, that's all I've been doing is just sitting watching season reviews because I've never seen any of the highlights since being there. So watching it back has created all these wonderful memories of. We went through a few years being shit, but
Daniel, you were actually kind enough when I came down for the Arsenal game to meet us before the game with some ice cold beverages, which was a really nice touch. And I was really struggling for the toilet. I remember right there, I was gasping for the toilet. I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll have another 3 cans first, right? Then I'll go to the toilet. But yeah, in the reverse fixture of last season, you came up and we went for some nice food, and we had a few drinks. And I distinctly remember you. I think outside of I think it was Soho. Yeah, and you turned round, Dan, and you said, should I be worried tonight? Are we going to get beat here? Because there was a massive display being organised. It being our last home game of the season, there was a lot of excitement around, and we weren't going to get you on without talking about it. So
I mean, how I can talk. It was awful. It was awful. It was one of the low points of the season. You could sense from the first 5 minutes that we didn't fancy it, and the atmosphere was amazing. You had all the displays, tifos, all that. And I mean, look, we'll go into this, but we're a different team than we were last season. But there is a lot of scary similarities going into this game this Sunday, which I am a bit worried about. But yeah, it was. I was going to ask whether you can swear on this podcast, and I heard your intro, so it was fucking awful. It was like you've obviously never been to the away end, but you have a heart attack by the time you get up there. I can't remember. Like the first 5 minutes, you were just on top of us. Immediately, you could tell that the crowd were just rocking. Every single Newcastle player wanted it more than us. And we were like at that stage of the season, we were looking odds on for top 4. The week before, we'd obviously been battered by Spurs, which was horrible. But that's because I was thinking about going into this Sunday. Obviously, time of year, it's a bit similar. You lot are just having the time of your lives. It's going to be similar kind of crowd going to be up for it. We've got a lot of injuries defense-wise, as we did last year. We're off the back. Okay, we had a very enjoyable win on Tuesday against Chelsea, but we're off the back of a pretty kind of demoralising defeat against Man City. So I'm not feeling confident going into Sunday at all. Yeah.
Could you try taking your headphones out and putting them back in again second time? It just went crackly again. Well, listen, Dan, we're going to get into your the defensive injuries. soon. But let's get on and bring some facts up on the screen, which isn't necessarily pleasant reading for Newcastle fans. If I'm honest, if we're looking at the head-to-heads, this is just during the Premier League era. We've played each other 55 times. Newcastle have won 11 of those, whereas Arsenal have won 33, with only 11 draws. So it's
quite a famous score in there.
Yeah, it's fair to say you've had the best of us during this the Premier League years.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay too much attention to that.
I mean, the last 14, 15 years, Newcastle were trying not take into too much consideration those statistics. Because they are pretty irrelevant compared to the team we are now. But if we look at the last 5, obviously, the last time we played this season at your place, it was a draw.
And I said to Kev, as soon as we walked out of the stadium, odds on you're getting Champions League after that game. Not just after that game, but in general, seeing you. And you can see why.
I think in that game we did ride our luck a little bit, didn't we? I think Arsenal definitely created the better chances, but were very, very resolute at the back.
Yeah.
And not just yourself, Dan, but other Arsenal fans that I've spoken to have said that, we're just so difficult to score against. Now, that's slipped a little bit of late, and we have started conceding goals, but the joy of it is, by conceding those goals, we're now scoring. We scored 6 against Tottenham Hotspur. We scored 5.
I'd like to talk about that game a lot, please.
West Ham.
Today.
Yeah. We'll get to it. We'll definitely get to it.
Well, here is the form guide. Newcastle with that one blip that we'd try not to talk about against Villa.
Yeah, I watched that game.
That was It was a hard watch, that game.
Yeah.
But Arsenal, as of late, 4 draws, 1 loss, 1 win. The forms, your forms really dipped at the most pivotal time of the season, really.
Yeah. I mean, I think, obviously I've had suddenly Spurs fans have piped up again about us bottling it, blah, 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 which I don't take much mind to. Like, still, we're a young team, second youngest team. We've got manager, first management job. Like, the team's still learning, the manager's still learning. We've not been in this position before. And there is definitely a bit of kind of nerves, I think, going into this part. There is a bit of kind of pressure and that kind of, shitting our pants a bit, for sure. And I'm sure you're going to get it over the next few years. When it's against Man City, like, a draw's a defeat. So, like, any small slip up, you've got to be perfect. We've already got the same points tally as when we won the league in 97, 98. We're going to probably surpass seasons when we've won the league after that with our points tally. Like, you can't slip up against the fucking horrible bastards. Like, I was chatting to a Liverpool fan mate about it. It's like you start a game where you're already losing because a draw's not good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're going to be in this situation over the next few years. But it's, it has been, but it's a weird one. Like, it did feel a bit like, we had that first half hour against Liverpool, and there is a bit of similarities, I think, how we're going into Newcastle, because it's that kind of, Anfield, St James is that kind of atmosphere. If we are able to quieten down the crowd, kind of control possession, ideally get an early goal. I don't know, just trying to quieten you down.
That is the key, the early goal.
Yeah. But we will concede against you. Sorry, go on, Kev.
Sorry, I just wanted to pick up on what we were talking about there, and obviously when you're in a title chase and you've got the likes of Man City there, there's very little room for error. I mean, from the outside looking in, looking at Arsenal, I think I would look as a Newcastle fan and say, well, if I'm trying to look, if I'm being honest, I know you probably don't want to hear this, I think Man City are going to go on to win it now.
Yeah, but I look at it's done.
Yeah, I look at the 2 games against Man City. I think, first of all, that's probably where it's been lost. The 3-1 defeat at the Emirates and the 4-1 defeat at the Etihad Stadium. I mean, we talk about 6-pointers there. I mean, they are 6-pointers. You take 6 points off Man City and add 6 points onto you. You're looking at a very different table.
Yeah.
Second to that, there was recently a stage of those 3 draws where I don't think it's
lost. I think the Southampton draw and the West Ham draw were where it was lost for me.
Yeah.
And there was also the Everton game as well. I think that was a really good opportunity to put some nice breathing space. But look at, it's a long Premier League season, and Man City make it so even if you get a run of 3 draws, you can be out of it. It's so difficult against a team like Man City when you're in the title race. But when I look at Arsenal, I think to myself, well, hang on. That's 2 seasons in a row where they've made progression. So I think last season, although it was difficult for Arsenal to take, not getting in the top 4 in the manner that it happened. I mean, it was great for us because we got an extra 3 points. It moved us up in the table. But I think if at the beginning of the season, if I'd offered you 5th place, you possibly would have accepted that. Again, this season, you've moved from 5th place to what could be 2nd, possibly 1st. So the progression's definitely there. And I think for next season, you're going to look at another title challenge, I think.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, yeah, you're completely right. It's, as I said, when we came 5th last season, as you said, at the beginning of last season, I would have said, accepted that. Yeah, 5th, fair enough. That's progression from where we've been. The progression that we've made, this is why, like, I don't know, okay, I did start to believe and I started to dream and I started to look at what that 24-hour party would look like on May 28th. But I was still trying to kind of measure that with a bit of reality and say, look, all you want to see as a team, and you guys obviously know this with Newcastle over the last few years, you want to see your team progress. You want to see that you're kind of, and you can be happy with that. And no one expected us to be in this position come May. So, the fact that we've challenged them, what we've achieved this year is phenomenal. We've got a really young team who learn, and that's one thing I'm hoping for is that defeat against you lot last season. That hurt. That really hurt. You heard Xhaka's comments after the game about, you got to have the balls. If you don't want to turn up, then don't play for us. Like, get out. They'll all remember that defeat, and I'm really hoping that we respond because the pain of losing out on the top 4 is why we're challenging this year, because they've held on to that as a team and said, like, we want to push on. So I am hoping the pain of missing out on the title, because we're not going to win it, will push on. And I think we're going to be, as you lot will be as well, we're going to be pretty busy in the summer with transfers. But a couple of things you said there, Kev, it's interesting you raised that Everton game, because fucking Dyche. Like, I want Everton to go down just because of Dyche, and I want Leeds to go down because what are they doing? Allardyce as well. But like,
sorry to interrupt there. Did you see what Allardyce said?
Oh yeah. Have you seen that? There's already a funny. There's a funny David Brent video going around of him with. Yeah, I'll send it to you afterwards. It's good. He's just going to be ripped the piss out of when they lose the next 4 games.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, he's an absolute pizza eater. He's like, he's just like coming out. Yeah, I'm in the same echelon.
He's not short of confidence, mate.
He's not short of confidence.
He's not. He's short of a diet. I know that. But look, we had him up here, and he had the same sort of confidence and played the most boring football you'll ever see. And I mean, he got his dream job, the England job. He was in that for how long before
one game
till he was up with his old tricks again. Yeah. I mean, like the guy is like he is Mike Bassett. He is Mike Bassett, 100%.
Yeah, no, I've got no love for. I call him Sam Alacunt. Is that all right? Can you say that on
Yeah, Mike's gone again, so you're gonna have to leave and come back. Right, we had a few more technical errors there, but we're back again. Mark, I'm just gonna not Mark, sorry, Dan. It's your cousin, it's Mark, isn't it? I'm just gonna bring up the injury news. I don't know if you've got any more insights.
Yeah, I do.
Obviously, Gabriel He came off the other night limping. So that's the one we know about. Saliba, who I think you'll agree has been a huge miss for you. You've got Tomiyasu who's still out, and El Neni. Is there any other injury concerns, or if not, what do you make of not only Saliba being out, but the possibility of Gabriel being out as well?
I'm shitting my pants about it, to be honest. It's since Saliba, like it's been before Saliba, and going off track slightly, Kev mentioned the Everton game, and that is when. So before the World Cup, we conceded, I think, the least amount of goals set pieces. After the World Cup, we've been shipping goals set pieces, and you'll score on set piece on Sunday, guaranteed. Damn, Burn will fucking knock one in. I'm sure. But since we've lost Saliba, we've shipped so many goals. You can't win the league conceding 3 at home to Southampton, 2 to West Ham. Like the way in which we've been shipping goals, you're not going to win a league like that. So Saliba has been phenomenal this year. He's got this cool, calm, ice coolness. When we beat Spurs and North London derby, he was nutmegging their players in our own 18-yard box. He's quality.
He's got like 3 or 4 goals as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's got
and he's got a wicked song. Yeah. That is a wicked.
Saliba.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Of fun singing that. And he's been part of why we've been so good this season. So his injury has knocked it hard. Like, and we don't have the squad to compete with Man City. We might have a title challenging team, but not with not a squad. And if ordinarily, I think Holding's our third choice, because if Saliba's out, you probably have Tomiyasu centre back. He plays there for Japan. So Gabriel's better alongside. So Gabriel's your kind of like, dagger in the mouth. He'll fucking take anyone out. Emotional, like gets a bit rash at times. So the balance with Saliba being really cool, ice cool, they're just a really good partnership. So Gabriel's form suffered a bit. So Holding's come in for Saliba, who, look, he's got again, going back to, maybe it's because I'm bald, but like he's just a beautiful a miracle hair growth. He was completely bald, and now we call him Holdini, half because of his beautiful locks. And he's a great guy. Like he's been quality, but he's limited. He's limited as a defender. He's good in the air, but like we build up from the back, and he doesn't have that ability, that passing ability, that coolness. So we've really struggled. It's like, we love Holding, but he's come in, and has meant Partey's form has suffered as well, because he's dropping back to start building up from the back. So we've let teams come onto us from midfield. So going back to your point about Gabriel being out, so we've been calling for things to change. We said we can't really do it with Holding. So Chelsea game, he switched things up a bit and had two left-footed centre backs in Kivior and Gabriel playing alongside each other. So when Gabriel's injured, Arteta does this thing. He keeps quiet about injuries. He likes to try and kind of spring a surprise. But I'd be I can't see Gabriel. I don't know if you've seen any news about it, but I can't see Gabriel being fit. So it will probably be Holding and Kivior centre back, which is
quite appetising from a Newcastle point of view. That actually,
it's really concerning. I mean, he's not going to do this, but I would like to see Ben White going into as a centre back alongside Kivior.
Well, there's Mikel Arteta's. I'm assuming it was from the presser.
Yeah.
He wasn't comfortable. We tried for 10 or 15 minutes, but he could not carry on, which is strange for Gabby. So we are a bit concerned about the injury.
Yeah. I mean, even if he was fit, like Kivior played, I was impressed with him. He had a really good game. I think most interceptions, most whatever headers or something like that against Chelsea. But he looked really a really competent, technically gifted player, and he did. We like to do this quite a lot, but he was dropping into holding mid a bit, Kivior, which was interesting. So we like to kind of move to a back three sometimes during the game. But I would have Kivior and White and bring Partey right back, because I don't think Partey played there for Atletico Madrid, but Arteta, he's not played White centre back all season, and he's been quality at right back, and he likes that right hand side to link up with Saka as well. So I'm convinced it'll be White and Kivior centre backs, and Holding and Kivior, and I think you guys will have a field day with that.
So we'll move on to Newcastle now.
Can I just continue about our defence a bit? So
go on.
Tell me to shut up.
No, go on.
Because Zinchenko, who has been brilliant for us all season, his form has dipped a bit recently, and he's been a bit dodgy. And I think again, if he starts Zinchenko with Kivior and Holding, oh my God, I think we're going to ship quite a few goals against you. So and I'm going to mention him because I think he's going to be playing for you next year. Tierney. We want to see him start because I think he adds a bit of defensive robustness. But it looks like he's going to go at the end of the season, which is a real shame.
Heavily linked with us all season, pretty much.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. We love him. We love Tierney.
Is he not a sick note though?
Yeah, he is.
Right,
he is.
That's my issue. That's my worry.
Yeah, he is, and that's you might kind of knock quite a few million off because of that, because he's not been reliable, and that's why Zinchenko came in, because we couldn't rely on him, as you know, throughout the season, because he gets too injured, but he's solid and he works hard, and he's hard as nails. He's your proper Scot. Only wears short sleeve when it's hailing, all that kind of stuff. Which, with our southern softies, it goes down well.
Yeah. So. No, well, moving on to Newcastle and the game and where we both think it could be won. I think both of us would need to get off to a flyer of a start and an early goal. An early goal for yous might quieten St James's, but I'm not so sure it would, given this Newcastle that can come back from being a goal down.
And we've come back from 2 down recently as well.
Yeah,
so.
I think an early goal from us would lively the place up even more. But then again, the attacking power that both teams possess, especially this season. You've got Martinelli, you've got Saka, you've got Jesus, we've got Isak, Wilson, Joe Linton.
Isak is class.
Yeah.
He's class. And he's a player that we were kind of slightly linked with in the January when we didn't replace Aubameyang. And I'd seen him a bit for Sweden beforehand. When I've seen him for you, quality player.
Yeah,
well, I think if Sean Longstaff, which again you wouldn't have classed him as a pivotal player 18 months ago, but I think if he's missing, if he's not fit, I think we lose the midfield, and I think that's where you would dominate. However, if Gabriel is out, I think your defense will be the weakness for our attack. So that's my take on how the game will go.
So what's because Gordon started last week, didn't he?
Yeah.
Has Almiron not been starting?
So Almiron
had a long injury.
Yeah, he had a bit of a longish injury, and when he was out, Murphy just played absolutely out of his skin. Was getting down the right hand side, putting crosses in. He was getting on the end of balls into the box. He was laying people up. He was getting goals.
Scoring worldies.
Surprising himself with world-class goals. So
that
when
pass
Almiron,
from Willock,
fantastic. I want to pick up on the midfield, because I definitely think this is where the game's won and lost, is in that centre of midfield, because there's no denying that both teams have absolutely world-class attackers. From our perspective, Isak's on fire at the moment. Callum Wilson can't stop scoring. I think he is going to start the two of them together because of the injury to Longstaff.
Wilson.
But for me, the middle three of Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton, and Joe Willock are really going to have a very, very, very good game, because it's all right having these attacking players, but if we're not winning the ball in the midfield in passing through into transitions, then it's pointless having those players on there. And I think it's a very similar story for Arsenal as well. You know, Martinelli's having an absolutely amazing season. Jesus is back now. Everybody knows what his quality is. And Odegaard seems to be hitting some really good form again. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see that battle in the middle of the field.
So for us, it's going to be, because Partey's form's dropped recently. So Jorginho started against Chelsea and he had a really good game. So I think Jorginho will probably start there alongside Odegaard and Xhaka in front of him, I think. And again, it's not so. Trossard has been quality, incredible January signing, and he started again against Chelsea. So I wonder whether Trossard will start again on that left-hand side. But I do. We spoke about it. I kept saying to you on the home leg that I thought, because Zinchenko leaves a lot of gaps, because he inverts into that centre midfield role, and I thought whether it's Almiron, whoever would exploit that space. And that's why I think, one, that Tierney should start, because Zinchenko's been defensively not as good. But again, I wonder. And Saka, Byrne did an amazing job on Saka in the 0-0, from what I remember.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Dan Burn. He's one of the players I'm probably a little bit anxious about at the weekend, just because of that battle right there. Saka against Burn. Now, he did do a really good job against Saka in the home. What was your home leg? Look at Dan Burn. He's great defensively when he's in that area. However, when it's a little bit of a race, I do get a little bit worried, and we all know that Saka's got absolutely tremendous pace and he can take it past a player. But having said that, Dan Burn, he doesn't shy away from a tackle. I just hope there's no sort of booking early on against Saka, because then he might be a little bit walking the line somewhat when he's trying.
I think that side definitely will be attacked by Arsenal. I definitely think that will be the vulnerability they look to go for. Yeah, especially if Longstaff's not in the team helping out defensively as well.
Yeah, we're at our best when we're utilising Martinelli and Saka as much as possible. And Jesus has been brilliant. So he kind of interchanges on the left-hand side, moves over to the left. Martinelli comes central. I think that's how we scored against Liverpool with that first goal. But yeah, Saka's had a dip in form of the last few games. And I don't know whether that's just down to he's just knackered as well. It's been a long year with the World Cup for him as well. And a bit of like him feeling deflated as well, as long as the rest of us. But yeah, I, from our point of view, I really hope Saka comes to life a bit.
Yeah. Exactly. Go out again, Mark, come back in, and then we'll do the score predictions.
Yeah, Daniel, not Mark.
No, I keep calling him Mark.
God. Right, go back.
But before I forget, Si, I've got an announcement to make.
Go on then.
Well, shall I do it now or wait?
Do it now in case your iPhone 3 fucks up again on the sound.
So, obviously, you're going to get Champions League this year. I think maybe as a special All the Pies tribute for you getting Champions League, I think what would be really good is maybe if you show some exclusive footage of Kev singing Little Mermaid to a pub full of people, because I've got some great footage of that.
If you've got some of that, then that will definitely be the way we will celebrate Champions League football. If you could send that over, mate.
How have you got that?
Auntie Judy sends over everything.
How have you got that?
Then yes.
So I'm sure your loyal listeners will be keen to see that.
They will. I want to see that myself.
Yeah. So,
Can
sorry,
you can you remember which number it was? Was it under the sea?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, Kev,
It was-
Kev, talk us through it.
It was. God, what an announcement! Yeah, it was part of that world. Yeah, I was drunk and I sang The Little Mermaid on
Ballad as well.
karaoke.
You do really well, and it's interesting. You really seem to know the words, and
Aye.
it's clearly a special song for you.
Aye, it was.
Means a lot.
It was. Should we go on to the scores?
Right, well, I'm going to have a fuckload of editing to do. So, yeah, let's get on with the scores. I'm going to go, right, I'm going to say there's going to be goals. There is going to be goals. And I'm going to go, I'm going to go 3-2 Newcastle. I'm going to go Martinelli and Saka for yous. And I'm going to go Callum Wilson 2 and Joe Willock against his former team.
Ooh.
So I'm going to go for.
Oh.
Right. I'll go next, and then we'll have the Arsenal verdict at the end. I also think there's going to be goals. Looking at your form table, you've just had a win, but you've had a lot of draws, and it's not going to be an easy game for either way. I think this one's going to be a draw as well. I think it's going to be 2-2. For Arsenal, I think it's probably going to be Odegaard because he's in good scoring form at the moment, and I can see Jesus maybe's popping up with one. For ourselves, I'm going to go with Callum Wilson because he's in great scoring form, and I was going to say Isak, but I've changed my mind. I'm also going to say Joe Willock against his old team.
We love Joe Willock. I'm going to do it off the hoof here. I think if it's end to end, you lot will win. I think that will suit you, getting the crowd behind you. Oh God, I don't like predicting a loss. It's just not in my nature.
Don't do it then.
No, I might do a head and heart one. A head and heart. Yeah. The fact, just not to kind of go off on one, I am going to go off on one. You've only lost one at home against Liverpool. And like, what the fuck happened in that Liverpool game? Because
Nick Pope got sent off.
Pope got sent off, didn't he? With the weird one.
Yeah, he does a lot of weird things. Nick Pope. He likes to. He sometimes just has a mad moment and decide to just sprint out of his box. But
we should have had the battle.
Would have been unbeaten had Pope not been sent off, in my opinion. Unbeaten if Pope had not been sent off. So.
My head says we're going to lose 3-1.
Right.
What does your heart say?
My heart says we're going to win 3-1.
Right.
I think Callum Wilson will definitely score. He always scores against us. I think it'll be, if you win 3-1, Callum Wilson, Isak, and we're on. And for us, if we win 3-1, Martinelli, Jesus, and Odegaard. But I was going to go with your 2-2. I don't know. Oh God,
it could be any score.
It
could be any score, and I think it could be one of the games of the season, not just for
it'll be a good game
for the Premier League. For the Premier League, if you're neutral and you're watching that, it's going to be a good game for you to watch. I think
because I think we're struggling with we can't play more than one good half at the moment. Like that Liverpool game was a prime example. We walked all over them, went to Anfield and just dominated them, and then second half. Completely opposite. Same with all these recent run of games. We can't take hold of a game for 90 minutes. And you'll get chances. You will score, probably from set pieces. And hitting us on the break. Counter-attack, we're really vulnerable at the moment. I just think defensively, we've just not got it in us in the moment. So you're going to win.
Well, the importance of the game, because there is, I know a lot of Arsenal fans think it's game over. There is a glimmer of hope. City have got to play Real Madrid twice. They could get injuries. They could get fucking their big fucking Nordic robot goal machine monster injured. You know what I mean? It could happen. So you could still be chasing the title. Whereas if we beat you on Sunday, I think then title's over. And we've now got Liverpool on our tails. So we are needing to win 2 more games at least.
Yeah, I think you're safe for Champions League. Liverpool aren't going to get that. That's too much. What are they? How many points behind you?
Well, I think they're going to win all of their games, to be honest with you. They look like winning all of their games. I've got a terrible running. So the maximum they can finish on is 71 points. We're currently on 65. So I think with the goal difference, I can't see them chalking back the goal difference. So I think 2 more wins is enough for us. I know Brighton are still in with a shout as well, but I don't know, something inside of us tells us that they're not going to get
Brighton
there or thereabout. I think Liverpool's got
Brighton at home.
Brighton v Man U tonight is going to be a crucial game for Newcastle fans to keep an eye on what's going on. But anyway, Mark, Dan, sorry, I will. I'm going to keep calling you Mark. I'm going to keep calling you Mark from now on. The 2 Marks, that's what we'll do. Fucking Cockney Mark and Canadian Mark. Right. No, Daniel, thank you for joining. Are you going to be up on Sunday?
So I said to you last year that I wanted to make it a tradition that every year I come up. My mum, because I'll stay at my mum's coming down because she wants to bloody come down for the Jubilee. The coronation. Yeah. So I'm not coming up. So I looked at train tickets, £185 return.
Ridiculous, yeah.
So I can't afford that. So yeah, I'm not coming up to the game, sadly. So
have you got any your own channel? Have you got any socials that you want promoted or anything like that? Nah. Well, Daniel, thank you for coming on, mate.
Invite me back on next season. It's been a pleasure.
I'll definitely not call you Mark again next time. We'll maybe have you on during the off season. We plan to do a review of the season. Obviously, it would be good to have a perspective from either the winners or the runners-up who were in the lead all the way until the end.
And look, massive congratulations. Eddie Howe's been incredible. And I think we're quite similar in regards to we've kind of overperformed, really. We've been above expectations, haven't we? So it's been a great fun season, isn't it?
It has.
Regardless.
It's been a good season.
Good luck with the rest of the season.
See you in the Champions League next year.
See you in the Champions League. Brilliant. Well, guys, if you've enjoyed that, if you could hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button to get it passed around other Newcastle fans or even Arsenal fans, and comment below with what your score predictions will be for this Sunday's crucial match. And until then, till the review, we'll see you next time.
See you later.
Come on.